Let's have a quick look at an accounting equation. So, number 1.2.1 says sold goods to S star and issued an invoice. So remember, issued an invoice without saying that we received payment means that this is now a new debtor of ours. So we have to increase the debtor because of the sales. Debtors are assets, so debtors increase with a debit, S star. And the reason why this debtor owes me more is because of the sales. The amount for the sales was 4,998 Rand. That means that the debtors owe me more, my assets are increasing, I have more income, therefore more profit, so more owner's equity, no liabilities affected there. I know, my apologies.
Mrs. Clansman, can you just let me know where you are, please? Can you let the front office know where you are? Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Then we also need to indicate that we now have a cost of sales expense. So cost of sales expense, because we no longer have that trading stock, it is the expense that we had to incur in order for the sales transaction to happen. So I have less assets, I have less trading stock, and I have less profits going to the owner in the end, no liabilities affected there. To get the amount, I now need to find out what was the profit markup applied. Therefore, I will go to the additional information, and it says there that I applied a profit markup of 70% on cost. So I go back. Sorry, guys.
Mrs. Clansman, there's a call for you in front.
Okay. There we go. So you had a selling price of 4,998. You applied a profit markup of 70% on cost. So you want the cost. Cost is always 100 divided by cost plus profit markup, which is therefore 170. And then if I could just, where's my calculator now? This thing is messing up my whole situation. There you go. 4,998 times 100 divided by 170. So 2,940. 2,940. So we obviously prefer you guys not doing your calculations in the amounts column, but rather just showing it there underneath one of your accounts, unless stated otherwise. Then number 1.2.2 says we obtained a new loan at an interest rate of 12% per annum, and the loan is repayable in 12 monthly installments. So the only thing that happened here is we obtained a new loan. It didn't say that we paid any interest. It didn't say that any interest is due. It also didn't say that we now made a payment. It just said it is repayable within 12 months. So you only obtained a new loan. So you received more money because of this loan. Asset is increasing, therefore debiting back. And then you now have more liabilities because at some point you are going to have to repay this loan. The amount that you received was 200,000 Rand. Then you bought goods on credit from Reese's stores for 12,000 Rand less 10% trade discount. So let's ignore the amount for now. We bought goods on credit. Goods is trading stock. Trading stock is an asset. So trading stock is now increasing. I haven't made payment. I purchased this on credit, therefore creditors control with Reese's stores as my details. Then I have more trading stock and I owe my creditors more, so an increase there in my liabilities as well. Just going to make this a bit narrow so that I can fit more into this space. We don't need to be that big. Oh, how's that was not supposed to happen. There we go. Okay, right. So now for the amount for my creditors. It says that it originally cost 12,000 Rand, but they are being nice. They are saying less 10% trade discount. So 100% of the purchase price is the 12,000 Rand. That's what it cost initially. They are saying you don't have to pay 100% of the price. We are saying you can get 10% discount. So you are only going to have to, once you make payment, pay us 90% of the original amount. So 12,000 Rand times 0.9, 10,800 is your amount. Right. Then transaction number 4. You also paid your monthly loan installment and the monthly interest. So that's why you have 2 columns, 2 rows here for number 4, because you made payment. You made payment towards your loan, so you're now decreasing the loan. That's why you are debiting the loan. And you also paid interest on loan. Expenses increase on the debit side. You used your money to make that payment, therefore you have less bank. Now, what did you pay? Remember that the loan that you obtained was 200,000 Rand, payable in 20 equal monthly installments. So the loan, 200,000 Rand, divided by 20 monthly installments, because you are now paying the monthly loan installment. So if you then take your 200,000 and you divide that by 20, you get 10,000. So 10,000 Rand that you have less in your bank account because you're making a payment, you owe the bank less money. But that's not it. You also paid the interest on this loan. So 200,000 Rand was the loan amount. That amount incurred 12% interest per annum. But you've only had that for 1 month because it's the monthly interest. So only 1 out of the 12 months. So it's very important to note that interest is per annum for a 12-month period. Therefore, if you are now only calculating the interest for 1 month, you have to say that it's 1 out of the 12 months that I'm calculating the 12% interest at. So it's 200,000 times that by 12%, and then calculate it for 1 month, then you'll see that that is 2,000 Rand, that you have less in bank because you paid the interest and you paid an expense. Therefore, you have less owner's equity, no liabilities affected there. Okay, so it's only when we capitalize interest where we will add it onto the loan, otherwise we have to make payment. Then 1.2.5, a new laptop bought on credit for the bookkeeper to use in the financial year has been returned to the supplier. This transaction has not been recorded. So it's a new laptop that you purchased previously. You are now returning that. So you no longer have the laptop. Therefore, equipment gets a credit. You're removing that. Then you are returning it to a creditor, so you no longer owe the creditor that money. They didn't give you, oh, they did give you a name. There we go, PC Suppliers. I was about to say they didn't give a name. Then the cost of that equipment was 20,000 Rand. I no longer have the assets, so minus for assets, no owner's equity affected there, minus for liabilities because I no longer owe the creditor the 20,000 Rand for this laptop. Number 6, paid 500 Rand from the petty cash to Flash Couriers for goods delivered to a debtor. The amount will be recovered from the debtor. In other words, we made a payment using our petty cash. We have less petty cash, but the debtor has to repay this to us at a later stage. Therefore, the debtor's account is increasing. Debtors control, and this is B1. Then what did we do? We made payment using our petty cash. So we have less petty cash. And the amount that we paid was 500 Rand. So this debtor owes us more, but we also have less money. Therefore, it's a plus minus for asset. Plus because the debtor owes us more, minus because we have less petty cash. Then number 7, received 4,000 Rand from C Crunch, a debtor, in settlement of her 4,200 Rand account. Okay, so first things first, we received money, therefore debit bank. Why did we receive money? Because this debtor made payment, so the debtor owes us less money, so we will decrease the debtor's control with a credit entry. We received 4,000 Rand from her, so that is the amount by which our bank is increasing. However, our assets aren't only increasing, our assets are also decreasing because now this debtor owes me less money. No owner's equity, no liabilities affected there. Then, part of this transaction is that we received the 4,000 Rand in settlement of her 4,200 Rand account. So remember, in settlement means that after this payment, she owes me nothing. However, she paid me less than the amount that she owed me. And that means that I allowed discount. So discount is an expense, therefore increasing on the debit side. It decreases my debtor's control. And the amount is 200 Rand. It's the difference between the total outstanding and then the amount received. So the debtors is decreasing now by even more because I said you don't have to pay me the 200. Discount allowed is an expense that decreases profits, which decreases owner's equity, and 0 for my liabilities. Then I also paid the local municipality for water and electricity. So, sorry.
You certainly did.
Okay. So we paid for water and electricity. So we are debiting that expense account because we have more of that expense now and we have less money in the bank. The amount that we paid was 1,200. So I have less assets because I have less money. I have less owner's equity because my expenses increase, which leads to a lower profit for the owner. No liabilities affected there. And that's a quick recap of the accounting equation.